My girlfriend thought it'd be funny to put a "will work for food" sign on my back at a family barbecue. I laughed it off, then quietly left. The next morning, she woke up to a moving truck outside. For the last 6 months, my life has been in a state of controlled demolition and reconstruction. I was laid off from a senior logistics manager position I had held for 15 years. It was a good job with a great salary, but the company downsized and my number came up. Instead of immediately jumping back into the corporate grind, I decided to bet on myself. I took a portion of my severance and started my own logistics consulting firm, working from a home office I set up in my spare bedroom. The work is hard, the hours are long, and the income, for now, is a fraction of what it used to be. I knew it would be a tough road, but I believed in what I was building. My girlfriend of 4 years, Sarah, did not share my optimism. She had grown very comfortable with the lifestyle my old salary provided. The nice dinners, the weekend trips, the easy spending. My new reality as a startup founder was not nearly as glamorous. Her support quickly morphed into a quiet, simmering resentment that would bubble up in the form of little jokes and passive-aggressive comments. She started referring to my new business as my little project, and would ask me if I was going to get a real job soon. At least once a week. I tried to ignore it. I told myself she was just stressed, that she was not used to the uncertainty. I kept my head down, worked 16-hour days, and poured everything I had into making my business succeed. I thought if I could just show her it was working, she would come around. The annual family barbecue, a tradition in my family for as long as I can remember, was held at my house this year. It is a big event. My parents, my siblings, their spouses, and a whole swarm of nieces and nephews. I love hosting it. It feels good to provide a space for everyone to come together. I spent the whole morning prepping, cleaning the yard, and getting the smoker going for the brisket. Sarah was in a strange mood all morning, a mix of overly sweet and weirdly giddy. I should have seen it as a warning sign. The party got underway around 2 in the afternoon. I was at the grill, flipping burgers, talking with my dad, feeling relaxed and happy for the first time in weeks. I was in my element, surrounded by people who loved me. Or so I thought. While my back was turned to the crowd, focused on not burning the food, Sarah came up behind me. I felt her tape something to the back of my t-shirt. I figured it was just some silly prank, maybe a kiss the cook sign. I heard a few of her friends who had come with her start giggling. I just smiled and shook my head, continuing to cook. For the next hour, I walked around my own party, completely unaware. I mingled with my family, refilled drinks, and played with my nieces and nephews. I noticed a few strange looks, a few hushed whispers, but I brushed them off. I thought people were just happy to see me. The moment of discovery was a gut punch that I will never forget. My 7-year-old nephew, Leo, tugged on my shorts. He had a confused look on his face. He pointed to my back. "Uncle Tom," he asked, his voice full of innocent curiosity, "what does unemployed mean?" I froze. My brother, standing nearby, suddenly looked furious and ripped the sign off my back. He showed it to me. It was a big, crudely drawn sign on a piece of cardboard made to look like something a homeless person would hold. In thick black marker it read, "Will work for food, unemployed and desperate. Please help. My girlfriend pays for everything." The blood drained from my face. It was not just a joke. It was a calculated, vicious, and deeply personal attack on my character, my work ethic, and my temporary vulnerability. And she had done it in front of my entire family. Before I could even react, my sister came over, her phone in her hand, her expression horrified. "Tom, look at this." She showed me Sarah's latest social media story. It was a picture of me, taken from behind, standing at the grill with that despicable sign on my back. The caption she had written was, "Putting the new hubby to work, gotta earn his keep. LOL, unemployed and loving it. Charity case." Charity case. I looked across the yard and saw Sarah laughing with her friends. She caught my eye and gave me a playful wink, as if we were sharing in some hilarious secret. In that instant, 4 years of a relationship evaporated. All the love I thought I had for her, all the excuses I had made, it all curdled into something cold and hard. But I did not explode. I did not yell or cause a scene. That was what she wanted. She wanted a big dramatic reaction that would make me look unstable, proving her point. I refused to give her the satisfaction. I looked at my family, who were all watching me with concern, and I forced a laugh. "Wow," I said, shaking my head. "She has a heck of a sense of humor, huh? A little dark for me, but what are you gonna do?" I clapped my brother on the shoulder. "Thanks for the heads up, man." I went on with the party for another hour, like nothing had happened. I played catch with my nephews. I talked to my mom about her garden. I was the perfect host. Sarah seemed almost disappointed by my lack of reaction. But inside my head, a plan was forming. A calm, quiet, and final plan. Around 6 o'clock, I told my sister I was getting a bad headache and was going to lie down for a bit. I told everyone to stay, enjoy the food and the pool. I went inside, grabbed my keys and my wallet, walked out the side door, got in my truck, and just drove. I did not go far. I drove to a quiet hotel about 20 minutes away and checked in. From the sterile quiet of that hotel room, I made one phone call. I called a professional moving company, one that specialized in short notice and overnight jobs. I explained the situation briefly, that I needed a crew to pack up and remove one person's belongings from a 2-bedroom house. I told them I needed them there at 8 o'clock in the morning, sharp. Sarah thinks I am in the spare bedroom, sulking. She thinks I will get over it, that we will have a fight, and then everything will go back to normal, back to her quiet digs and my patient tolerance. She has no idea that I am not even in the house. She has no idea that I have already set the consequences for her actions in motion. She thinks she humiliated me. She is about to learn what true humiliation feels like. When she wakes up tomorrow, her entire life with me will be packed in the back of a moving truck. Update 1. The next morning, I was parked down the street from my own house at 7:45 a.m., sipping a coffee from a gas station. I watched as the large moving truck pulled up to the curb right at 8 o'clock, just as I had requested. I walked up, met the crew leader, a big guy named Frank, and used my key to let them into the quiet house. Sarah was still asleep in the master bedroom, completely oblivious. I had prepared a detailed, itemized list for Frank and his team. It specified exactly what was to be packed. All women's clothing and shoes from the master bedroom closet, all personal items from the master bathroom vanity, the entire contents of the spare bedroom that she had converted into her office, and several boxes clearly labeled Sarah in the garage. I was being meticulous. I did not want any accusations of theft or damage. The crew was professional, moving with a quiet efficiency that I appreciated. They started in the spare room. About 20 minutes in, the sounds of their work, the quiet murmur of voices, the squeak of packing tape, finally woke Sarah up. I was standing in the living room when she emerged from the bedroom, wearing one of my old t-shirts. Her hair was a mess, and her face was puffy from sleep. She saw the two movers carefully wrapping her computer monitor in a moving blanket and froze. Her expression shifted from sleepy confusion to pure, panicked disbelief. "Tom, what is going on?" she demanded, her voice rising. "Who are these people? What is happening?" I took a sip of my coffee and looked at her, my face completely neutral. "They are movers, Sarah," I said calmly. "I hired them. You are moving out." "Moving out?" she shrieked, her voice cracking. "What are you talking about? Are you insane? Is this because of that stupid joke yesterday?" "It was not a joke," I said, my voice dangerously quiet. "It was a public statement. You made it very clear what you think of me. I am simply accepting it. The people you live with, your family, you do not humiliate them for sport. That is something you do to a stranger or a roommate you do not like. So this roommate is asking you to leave." I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshot of her social media post. The picture of me with the sign, the hateful caption, the laughing emojis from her friends. "This is not something you come back from, Sarah," I told her. She started to cry then, but it was not the sound of remorse. It was the sound of a child having her favorite toy taken away. "You cannot do this. Half of this stuff is mine. We built this life together." "Let's be very clear," I said, taking a step closer. "You did not build anything. You were a resident. I owned this house and all the furniture in it 2 years before I even met you. You have not contributed a single dollar to the mortgage or the bills in the 4 years we have been together. You are welcome to take every single item that you personally purchased with your own money. The movers have a list. They will be delivering your belongings to any address you provide within a 50-mile radius. I would suggest you start making some phone calls. Her entire world was visibly crumbling around her. She sputtered, trying to find an argument. My car, the furniture, the television. My car, my furniture, my television, I corrected her gently. I have already been to the bank this morning. Your name has been removed from our joint account. The supplementary credit card you have been using has been canceled. The financial arrangement you found so amusing yesterday is now over. She sank onto the arm of the couch, her face in her hands, and let out a sound that was half sob, half scream. I felt nothing. No pity, no satisfaction, just a quiet, resolute emptiness. I had given her every chance to show me a basic level of respect, and she had responded by trying to make me a laughingstock in front of the people I care about most. The movers continued their work, professionally ignoring the drama unfolding in the living room. It took them about 2 hours to load everything into the truck. During that time, Sarah made a series of frantic, whispered phone calls from the back patio. First, she called her friends, the ones who had laughed so hard at her prank. I could guess from her side of the conversation that they were not offering up their spare bedrooms. Then, finally, she made the call I knew she was dreading. She called her parents. When the truck was fully loaded, Frank, the crew leader, came to me with a clipboard. We have an address, sir, a place in Northwood. Her parents' house, of course. I walked over to Sarah, who was sitting on the front steps with her head in her hands. The truck is ready to go, I said. I handed her a small box that contained her toiletries and her phone charger. I believe this is everything. She looked up at me, her eyes red and swollen. You are really going to do this? You are going to throw away 4 years over one stupid prank? You threw it away, Sarah, not me, I said. You just did not realize it until now. I watched as the moving truck pulled away from the curb, carrying with it the last remnants of a life I no longer wanted. Sarah stood on the sidewalk, looking small and lost, waiting for her parents to make the 40-minute drive to come pick her up. I went back inside my house, closed the door, and for the first time in a very long time, I was truly home. Final update. It has been 3 months since the day of the barbecue. The silence in my house was the first thing I noticed. For years it had been filled with the noise of Sarah's life. Her music, her endless phone calls, the television shows I had no interest in. Now, all I could hear was the quiet hum of the refrigerator and my own thoughts. It was a strange and wonderful peace. The fallout from my decision was swift. My family, of course, called me immediately. My mom was worried, thinking I had acted rashly. My dad was quietly furious on my behalf. I sat them both down and calmly explained everything. Not just the prank at the barbecue, but the constant, subtle erosion of respect over the past year. I showed them her social media post. When my mom saw the caption "charity case," her worry turned to a cold anger I had rarely seen in her. They understood. They did not see my actions as revenge. They saw them as self-preservation. Sarah's attempt at a smear campaign was clumsy and ineffective. She and her friends posted their usual vague complaints about toxic men and crazy exes. It did not work. Too many people, my entire family, had witnessed the prank firsthand. The story that spread through our mutual circles was not the one she was trying to sell. The story was about a woman who publicly humiliated her partner and was shocked when he finally stood up for himself. About a week after she moved out, I received a certified letter from a lawyer. It was a list of demands. She was claiming half the value of the furniture, compensation for emotional distress, and demanding I continue to make the payments on her car, which was also in my name. My response was simple. My lawyer sent back a package containing a copy of the deed to my house, which was dated 2 years before I met her. It included bank statements showing I had paid for all the furniture from my personal account. It also included a detailed accounting of the nearly $10,000 she had charged to my supplementary credit card over the past year for non-essential items. Finally, it included a copy of the social media post she had made. The letter concluded by stating that if she wished to pursue the matter, we would be happy to see her in court, where we would be filing a counterclaim for the money she owed me and for defamation of character based on her social media posts. We never heard from her lawyer again. The biggest consequence for her, however, was financial. Without my income supporting her, her entire world collapsed. She could not afford her car payments, so I gave her a choice: refinance it in her own name, or I would sell it. Since no bank would give her a loan, I sold the car, paid off the remaining balance of the loan, and mailed her a check for the difference, which was a little under $1,000. She is still living with her parents. I hear bits and pieces through the grapevine. She had to get a 9-to-5 job in customer service. Her influencer dreams are dead. Her friends, the ones who laughed at her cruel prank, apparently stopped coming around once she could no longer afford to go out for expensive dinners. Humiliation, it turns out, is not so funny when you are the one living it. The most satisfying part of this whole ordeal, however, has nothing to do with her. It has to do with me. That layoff, which felt like a failure, turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. Free from the constant stress and financial drain of my relationship with Sarah, I was able to pour all my energy into my consulting business. 2 months ago, I landed my first major client, a regional shipping company that needed a complete overhaul of their logistics network. It was a massive contract, more than I had dared to hope for. Last month, I landed another one. My little project is now a legitimate, thriving business. I have already hired my first employee. I am working just as hard, but now it is for myself. The success is mine. The respect is mine. I hosted another barbecue at my house last weekend. It was not a big family affair, just a small get-together to celebrate the new business contracts. My parents were there, my siblings, and a few of my closest friends. The atmosphere was light and happy. We talked and laughed, and no one made any jokes at my expense. As I stood at the grill wearing a simple, comfortable t-shirt, my dad came over and stood beside me. He just watched me for a minute, then he clapped me on the shoulder. "You know, Tom," he said, "I have not seen you look this happy in years. It is good to have you back." He was right. I had been gone for a long time, lost in a relationship that was slowly erasing me. The prank, as cruel as it was, did not destroy me. It saved me. It forced me to see the truth and act on it. Sarah thought she was putting a sign on my back that said I was worthless. What she really did was give me a sign that said it was time to move on. And for that, I suppose I should be grateful.